So without further ado, Violette.
Thank you. So I don't know where to start because this project doesn't have a start or an end. And also you can start seeing this exhibition from any piece that you want to pick because it's a whole concept, but at the same time it's one story each. So that's what I was thinking while I was waiting for you to get together. Someone in My Car is a second chapter of a project that began in New York while I was renting my room. I was struggle with the possibility to pay my rent, and I rent an apartment in Brooklyn, and I decided to do Airbnb. And my first guests were two Korean brothers, and they were so beautiful that I decided to take a portrait of them, and then everything began. So I moved to Houston. I'm a little nervous, I have to say. I moved to Houston without any plan. I came for a personal reason that changed in time. So I was struggling again with no studio and no any job or work or something like that in a new city. So at least in New York, I was able to walk around and pick up possibilities. I met a lot of people in the subway, different kind of gigs, things that happened to me that helped me there. But in Houston, you have to drive. So I'm a flaneur. I have it here, tattoo, and I consider myself a flaneur. I love to walk around. I love to bump with a bunch of possibility. If if I'm open, which I'm always try to be always open to that, and um, and then here I have a car. I drove from New York to Houston, and my first job was driving a taxi, driving for Lyft. So happened the same thing. I was just open to any kind of possibility or encounter. So this guy who is in this photograph, his story is the first one right here. You can read it. Was my first ride and was my first portrait. I knew from the beginning after I had the experience of someone in my bed, I decided to take my camera with me and see if this was another chapter for this project. And it happened at the first day, my first ride. I told him the story and he said that he would be happy to be the first one. And then he said also something like he felt special for that. So I think I don't have much to say after that. But I would say that this project also, after, oh no, sorry, before I was doing this, I was working with the projects that were related to Venezuela, to populism, to echo chamber exhibition that you got the chance to see it. And I was totally challenged by the new media that I was encountering and trying to find new ways to make the people be part of the projects that I was doing at the time. So I was away from photography somehow. So when I got the opportunity to apply to Art League, to this show, to this space, I was sure that I have the amount of photographs and portraits of of all the people that I photographed, but I wasn't in connection with the photograph. I knew that I have good photographies to present, but I wasn't connected at the time because I was totally embedded in Venezuela and then all these geopolitical subjects that I was really, it still got me very interested. But when I got when I got then noticed that I got this space, pandemic start, so I got pushed for almost 3 years, and suddenly I was in Mexico and I received an email from Bridget and said, remember you have an exhibition. I go, oh my God. So I dive in the files and then all the archives of someone in my car, and I realized that I was basically in love with Houston. For me, this is an homage to this city that gave me a lot. And here, there's two people that I really appreciate that, Stephen and Surfik. Um, Houston have been a city that welcoming from the beginning. I was here, and then the second week I got a space in Box 13, and then I got a space in Rice University to show my work, and then things started happening. And the most beautiful thing that was project that I was doing in New York while I was trying to survive to the big city. And it's like a conversation between those scenarios, because one gave me like the opportunity to incubate, like an incubator project there, thinking in a lot of things, feeling a lot of the experience of being an immigrant, and then move to the first, the number one city on diversity in the United States. So that was like enriching all my experience and giving me a lot to process. So to go back to this project, while I was driving, this decision, it's related to this piece, and these are the people that for me made my day, because the day never was made by the money I made, because it was terrible. Please tip your taxi drivers a lot, because it's really hard. I drove for 10 hours and I make no money, and I have to pay for gas and all this stuff. But I was so happy when I went back home and say, "Oh, I have two beautiful portraits today," and then a guy screamed on me, and then that was amazing because I record him. So I have all this information that made my experience um, remarkable and unforgettable. So please, if you have any questions, interrupt me. I love to be interrupted. Yeah.
Did you take the pictures? Sorry. Did you take the pictures with a cell phone or you have a camera?
No.
How was the
Yeah,
process?
all these photographs are made by 35 millimeter film photography. At some point, I have an issue that my camera fell and broke, and I haven't. It was really expensive, and I used digital for a short period of time. There's a lot of information about this project that is not in here, and that was also the challenge to put the work together. And because when you are in love with something, you want to share it all, and I couldn't, so I had to remove a lot of things from the exhibition. But yeah, so what I found in this with this portrait was the moment where we transcend the idea of the fact of the transaction, because I was doubting of them and they were doubting on me, and then both trust each other to do this in exchange. And it was an instant moment, a moment that I don't know if I'm going to see them again. And also have different people that I call them like the ephemeral Houstonian, that they came to the city for 3 days and for any reason, like for example, this guy was a filmmaker that was presenting a show and a movie at the MFA age, or different people that was just also people that was getting out of the jail, things like that was so amazing. So here are the stories. There's a lot of stories that I still have in my archive, and I brought this to I 1 second. So this is the route, 31 portraits, and this is part of the journal that I was trying to take. And the reason why I decided to blow up these images is for personal reasons. Basically, the connection that I had with this guy was amazing, was really touch for me. And then I remember him. Like I was thinking between one portrait and another, and I was talking with a friend, and then she recommended me to blow that one when I was sharing the story. Here was the deer park, and I was stopped by police because they caught me there recording and taking photograph of this beautiful, terrible situation. And I remember these two guys that they were coming out of the hospital because he was working in Deer Park, and he got injured, and he was suing the company, and then the whole story was also very important. Same for Day. I was trying to create a project that present a data and information that is important for us to know, but also I was trying to combine or to transform that kind of information in a poetic, very personal statement. And because I think that in that way, the information will make a better work in our minds. So that's why the titles are important to me in this project. For example, for me, driving 10 hours a day was really difficult. It was a moment that I was not knowing what I was doing, just driving the car, and very curious, because another thing is that I didn't at that time I didn't know where I was going. Someone, picked me up to take me to the airport, and I never was in the Bush airport before. So I was driving like, look at that. So I was discovering the city at the same time. So you know where you're going? I think you lost the exit. And I'm sure, yes, I think it's traffic over there. And I was like, and it was really, really risky situation. And also have a dangerous situation a couple of times where people was really aggressive. And also have another size gig, thanks to the people I was driving, that like, I need a photographer for a graduation, and I can do it for you, and then same thing. And also I got an assistant from Denmark who was studying at UVH, and he and I started the conversation, and he told me that he was looking for an artist to work with and learn, and I said, well, I'm an artist, and then he worked with me for a few times. So I was saying that let's say that the central piece is the piece that divides the information, data, transactional, and the poetic facts that the work have. For example, what I left behind is what I was feeling in the moment that I was doubting why I left New York, for example, or what I was doubting what I was doing, driving 10 hours a day, or what's going to happen with my practice if I'm going to be able to produce my work in this new city, and I'm in Texas. This is dangerous to be here? All those questions that came to my mind. So I took those videos, and from Rear Window, from moment that I stopped the car because I saw something interesting. I was looking for the contrast of this city that, at some point you can see a modern building, and then you can see a cow or things like that. Or I was in the Buddhist template near to Sugarland, and then I was like driving people to Katy, what we call Katy Suela, because all Venezuelan people is living there. So So it was totally a continuous discover, and still that's why I'm saying that this project doesn't have an end or a beginning, because you can pick it up from wherever. So also this piece was recorded at the same time where I was recording this. So I have this two um, contrast. For this piece, I was totally obsessed with this. I want to do this. I imagine the routes here and there, and I have a two transparency paper print with three routes since 2018 in my studio, and at that time I wasn't know how to do it. I'm not a expert in plexi or acrylic or something like that, but I knew that I want to do something that is kinetic, because I always wanted to find way to respond in a conceptual way about our heritage as a Venezuelan kinetic world. You know, we were well known for kinetic art and all that. So I'm always trying to find a concept or something to mess around with kinetic. So I found it, and this is 69 routes, 5,541 minutes, and $432. Yeah. And also, another thing, and I will stop here because maybe I'm missing something. I will say it after if you have any questions. But there's the book that is in the bag over there. I decided to display the notebook like that because I don't want people to sneak too much in there. So you can see the book, you can find stuff there, but I don't want you have it and see it because there's a lot of personal things on it. And also material from different projects that I was doing at the same time that I was doing the taxi. And while I was doing the taxi, I was thinking in the past that I was working for Eco Chamber, or I was thinking in other projects while I was driving the taxi. So it's a notebook that is, if you see the cover here, it says professional of the steering wheel, but it's in English and Spanish. They say professional of del volante, because I was working with data from Venezuela related to one of the moments that our history changed was in 1989, when the professional, like the people who, they call it professional of the volante, to the people who do the public transportation, they went to strike because the price of the gas went up. And from that moment, everything broke and everything started. So that was the name, and I put it like when I decided to drive as a taxi driver, that was the name that I put to the here. So there's that. And last thing is that photographing, the part of photograph, you find like what is happening in Houston, the gentrification, the way the city is changing quickly, fast, and sometimes aggressive. And then there's treasures that I, like for example, that billboard that don't like it says, don't live like bee or something like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of irony and material that I hope to get the chance sometimes in the future to be able to display the whole year of the archive of this project. Thank you.
One question. I'm curious, Violette, when did you take your notes? While you were waiting for the next passenger, or were you parking and waiting for a passenger to call? Or?
Not all, like I had the notebook with me most of the time. Sometimes I was like in the, because one of the problems of driving a taxi is when you need to go to the bathroom. So that's terrible. So that's something that I would like to work with in the future. But but yeah, I was the notebook always was with me. Sometimes when I got home, I put all that down, or at the meantime I was waiting. Sometimes I just did voice recording with my phone and stuff like that. I heard amazing conversation, scary conversation, people talking about business, stuff like that. And then I have a lot of information.
I also have a question. Well,
Sure.
two things. First, congratulations. I'm so happy to see, because we have talked about this project. You explained me in your studio long time ago. And it's just so beautiful to see it. The way it came out just is phenomenal. So congratulations. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm curious to know, just out of curiosity, the process of how did you approach every pass? Was it like organic, like, or did you have like a kind of a script in mind, like, okay, let me tell them that I'm an artist, or see how they react, or when was the picture taken? Was it at the beginning of the trip, at the end? How did that work? I'm just, if you want to
There
share.
were people that I knew from the beginning, like I saw them and I said, I need to take that portrait for sure. Like, for example, those cowboys. Like, they were so funny when they were coming, and that car was like this, and they were like this. Like, that car was for my size, and they were like huge. I need to put those, uh, you know. But there was people that was just very organically, like having a conversation, and then, would you mind if I take a portrait? Sometimes I just say it at the beginning, and there's one story of a couple of people that were expecting to take the portrait, and at the end I hate them and I never take it. So yeah, no portrait for you.
You
I'm not going to
the
do
portraits or the people?
You hated the portraits over the people?
the people.
Oh, okay.
People can be hateful sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no. And also sometimes I felt like regretted to not ask someone, like, oh, I should ask them. But yeah. Or run out of film. Like, damn, like, take it up. No, nothing there. So, yeah. No, yes, always with. And having this.
I see one that is like sleeping.
No. There's people that were sleeping that I took it from my rare view mirror. That's so hard to pronounce in English. And I took it with my cell phone. I have a bunch of the people were sleeping, but I want to try not to be so mean and put them in it. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it work. I do have a question. The work is indeed very poetic, always is very expressive and very fine, beautiful. I was wondering, how did those ideas occur to you of the capot of the car? I don't know how you call that part of the car. In Venezuela, we say the capot. And the mirrors and the door. I mean, they're incredible.
Thank you for that question, Carolina,
Yes.
because I wanted to. The idea was to bring the car inside of the gallery and have the whole exhibition inside of the car. And also, I was dreaming to do rides for people to put in a list and ask me to where to take them and enjoy the exhibition in an immersive experience. But it was difficult. I don't have that car anymore. So, so that's why I decided to deconstruct the idea of the car and what the car is watching at the same time. Like, this is something that I imagine that is projected from the hood of the car. So also, I have this thing with the rare view mirrors for a long time. Always taking photographs from the mirror, and I have a thing with the mirrors, and I like to use it in different projects. So I knew that I want to do something with car parts because I couldn't make the car completely in this moment, maybe in the future. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so right now you have work on view at the Blanton Museum in Austin. You have work on view at the Blaffer Museum here in Houston, and of course this exhibition. I feel like the projects are all very personal, but totally different. So can you talk a little bit about how you balance the personal and the conceptual in all of these projects that you have on right now?
That has to be a curator. Okay. Wait. I need to take this picture. Okay. So this is the moment of the hard question. Well, fortunately, those projects that I have in San Antonio and in Blanton are projects that I did in 2015. So it's been a while since I did those projects. But also for the installation and reconnecting in a specific curation, it demands some of you. The project in Blaffer is also more, I think it's one of the most personal projects that I have. There's a previous one, which is a block of ice, that's another thing. But yeah, it's really personal. I have some time between the projects that are in other places, like Blanton. The thing is that I'm a workaholic person. I'm always working. So my mind is very fluxus. It's like, for me, it's so hard to have something like done in your mind. This is the way things is gonna be and all that. So I'm always like fluctuating between one thing and another. So it's like the way my minds work. So I always thinking and stuff. Like maybe I'm cleaning this piece and I'm thinking and how I'm gonna finish the essay for the homage to Johnny. So it's something that maybe in this immigrant condition that you need to know how to do everything at once in order to survive, to get money, to work, to do all that my mind somehow it's working in that way. So I think a lot. And for example, this started in 2018 and now it's 2023, so I have like a lot of time to think and distillate information. So I'm not too organized, but I have an order. Most of the time, I don't know exactly how this is. You saw it here. It was kind of, I have an idea, but let me see how it felt, and I had to change this and that, because that's the way also that I live my life. Like now I'm here working in this way, and maybe tomorrow I'm gonna go to another place and be doing other stuff. So there's not like a formula, but I think I have some kind of formula in my mind. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.